Hello and welcome back to the channel where we focus on empowering you to live your healthiest life, especially as you navigate the unique changes that come with getting older. Now, let me ask you something personal. Have you noticed your legs feeling different lately? Maybe heavier than they used to? Does getting up from your favorite chair feel more like a chore than it should? Or perhaps you've felt that sudden, sharp twinge in your calves when you tackle a flight of stairs. If any of that sounds familiar, please lean in a little closer for the next few minutes. What I'm about to share could shed some much-needed light on why this might be happening. And honestly, it might not be what you expect. For so long, haven't we been told that feeling weaker, achier, or less steady on our feet is just, well, part of the deal with aging? Maybe your doctor suggested more exercise, perhaps physical therapy, or even offered medications that come with their own list of worries. But what if the real issue, the hidden culprit behind that nagging leg weakness or those frustrating cramps, isn't just about getting older? What if it's something you're intentionally doing, thinking you're protecting your health? Could the very vitamins sitting in your medicine cabinet right now be secretly working against you, undermining the strength and stability you're trying so hard to maintain? Now, this isn't just a wild guess. There's growing research, often tucked away in medical journals and not always reaching mainstream conversation, that suggests a concerning link. It points to two specific vitamins, nutrients often recommended for seniors, maybe even by your own doctor, that when taken incorrectly or in amounts your body doesn't actually need, could potentially lead to significant muscle weakness, persistent leg cramps, joint discomfort, and even impact your long-term mobility. Think about that for a moment. Millions of well-meaning seniors, maybe just like you, could be unknowingly contributing to their own physical decline, all while believing they're making healthy choices. It's a frustrating thought, isn't it? And what makes it even trickier is that when these symptoms do pop up, they're often dismissed as just aging, rarely connecting the dots back to vitamin intake. As someone deeply invested in nutritional science and its impact on healthy aging, I've seen this pattern emerge in discussions and research reviews. It's a disconnect that needs addressing. We see seniors struggling, trying everything, yet potentially missing a key piece of the puzzle hidden in their daily supplement routine. So, in today's video, we're going to pull back the curtain. We'll explore exactly which two vitamins might pose this hidden risk to your leg strength. We'll talk about the subtle warning signs that could indicate a problem, signs you might be mistaking for something else entirely. We'll try to understand how these essential nutrients could potentially turn harmful in excess, affecting your muscles and nerves. And importantly, we won't just leave you with the problem. We'll discuss practical, science-backed strategies and natural approaches you can consider to help protect and even potentially restore your leg strength and confidence. It's not about complicated protocols, but about understanding balance and what your body truly needs right now. We'll also touch upon something crucial: how certain everyday foods might unintentionally worsen these vitamin issues, creating a combination that could be accelerating muscle troubles without you even realizing it. Many of us eat these foods daily. Stick with me through this discussion. The insights we cover could genuinely shift your perspective on supplements and empower you to have more informed conversations with your healthcare provider. It could be the key to staying active, independent, and moving with confidence for years to come. The answers might be simpler than you think, but only if we first understand the real potential issues. Are you ready to take a closer look? Let's start with the first vitamin that might deserve a second thought. Let's talk about vitamin D. The sunshine vitamin. We hear about it everywhere, don't we? Praised for bone health, boosting immunity, keeping us strong. Many doctors recommend it, especially for seniors, and countless people take it diligently, believing it's a cornerstone of healthy aging. But could this celebrated nutrient, when not managed carefully, become problematic for your leg muscles after 60? It sounds counterintuitive, I know. How could something widely regarded as beneficial turn into a potential saboteur of your strength? The issue often lies in a pervasive belief, one that even influences medical advice sometimes, that when it comes to vitamin D, more is always better. But is it? While getting enough vitamin D is undeniably important, taking too much can set off a chain reaction in your body, potentially leading to effects that specifically target your leg muscles, leaving them feeling weak, achy, and less reliable. What makes vitamin D unique, and frankly a bit tricky, is that it's fat-soluble. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, where your body usually just flushes out what it doesn't need, excess vitamin D gets stored in your body fat and liver. Think of it like a bathtub, slowly filling up over time. It doesn't overflow immediately, but with continuous intake beyond your needs, the levels can gradually climb, sometimes over months or even years, potentially reaching levels that cause problems. This slow buildup is why many people never connect the dots between their supplement and symptoms like muscle weakness or cramps that seem to appear out of nowhere. So, how might this excess vitamin D actually affect your legs? One primary way researchers believe this happens is through something called hypercalcemia. That's a fancy term for having too much calcium in your blood. You see, high levels of vitamin D signal your body to absorb more calcium from your food and also pull more calcium out of your bones into the bloodstream. Now, you might think, more calcium? Isn't that good for bones? Yes, calcium in the right place is crucial. But when there's too much floating around in your blood, it can start to deposit in places it shouldn't be, like your soft tissues, including your muscles and the tiny blood vessels that feed them. Imagine tiny bits of grit interfering with the smooth operation of your muscle fibers. Researchers suggest these deposits can cause stiffness, inflammation, and make it harder for muscles to contract and relax properly. At the same time, this imbalance, too much calcium circulating, can also interfere with how your nerves talk to your muscles. Think of it like static on a phone line. The signals from your brain telling your leg muscles what to do might get disrupted, potentially leading not just to weakness, but also to issues with coordination and balance. That feeling of unsteadiness? It might not just be age. It could be related to this underlying imbalance. And there's another layer. Your kidneys have to work harder to filter out all that excess calcium. Over time, this extra burden could potentially strain kidney function, which in turn can affect overall health and how well your body clears waste products, possibly adding to muscle irritation, all stemming from potentially taking too much of what many consider a health essential. What are the warning signs you might notice? Often, the early symptoms of potential vitamin D excess affecting your legs are subtle. You might just feel unusually tired after activities that used to be easy, like walking around the grocery store. Your legs might feel strangely heavy, almost like you're wading through water. It's so easy to dismiss these feelings, isn't it? Oh, I just overdid it, or I guess I'm just getting older. As things potentially progress, you might experience muscle twitches or spasms, maybe even those frustrating leg cramps that wake you up at night. Does morning stiffness seem worse than usual, taking longer for your legs to feel warmed up? Another clue could be a strange, migrating pain, discomfort that seems to move around in your leg muscles rather than staying put in one joint. Some people even report increased sensitivity, where even light pressure on their thighs or calves feels uncomfortable. Perhaps the most concerning sign is a gradual loss of strength that doesn't seem linked to doing less. Simple things, getting up from a low chair, climbing stairs, carrying a bag of groceries, start feeling noticeably harder. We often compensate naturally, using our arms more or avoiding certain movements, without realizing the weakness might have an underlying, potentially reversible cause tied to our supplements. Where does all this potential excess vitamin D come from? Supplements are the most obvious source, often taken in high doses. But it's crucial to remember the cumulative effect. Many foods are fortified these days. Breakfast cereals, orange juice, milk alternatives, even some yogurts. A little bit here and there adds up. Plus, you might be taking multiple supplements that all contain vitamin D without realizing it. Check your multivitamin, your calcium supplement, maybe a bone health formula, or an immune support blend. It's easy to unknowingly take far more than the recommended amount when it's coming from several different pills. Even sunlight exposure still prompts your skin to make some vitamin D, though less efficiently as we age. Now, it's important to say that not everyone taking vitamin D supplements will run into trouble. Certain factors can increase the risk. People with existing kidney issues might have more difficulty regulating vitamin D. Some medications, like certain diuretics used for blood pressure, can affect calcium levels and potentially amplify vitamin D's effects. And yes, simply getting older means our body's regulatory systems might become a bit less efficient, narrowing the margin between a helpful dose and potentially too much. This makes careful consideration and discussion with your doctor even more important. But vitamin D isn't the only nutrient we need to discuss today. There's another common vitamin, often praised for vision and skin health, that might also pose unexpected challenges for leg strength in seniors if levels become too high. Let's talk about vitamin A. Vitamin A. We often associate it with healthy eyes, maybe good skin, and immune function. It's definitely essential earlier in life. But could this nutrient, like vitamin D, become problematic for our muscles, particularly our leg muscles, as we get older if we get too much? Again, it feels contradictory. How can something vital for development turn potentially harmful? The key seems to lie in how our bodies handle vitamin A as we age. Our liver, which is the main storage depot for vitamin A, might become less efficient at processing it and regulating its levels over time. This means that even with what seems like a normal intake from supplements, the vitamin could gradually accumulate, potentially reaching levels that start to cause issues. And just like with vitamin D, the danger often lies in how gradually these problems can develop. The increasing weakness, the stiffness, the aches, they creep up so slowly that it's incredibly easy to blame them on arthritis or simply wear and tear, never suspecting a connection to that daily multivitamin or specific vitamin A supplement. We miss the chance to address the root cause before more significant issues arise. How might excess vitamin A potentially harm muscle function? Research suggests a few pathways. At a cellular level, very high concentrations of vitamin A might become toxic to the muscle cells themselves, possibly damaging their outer membranes and interfering with their ability to contract properly. Think of it weakening the very fibers of the muscle over time. It might also disrupt the function of mitochondria within muscle cells. Remember mitochondria? They're like tiny power plants generating energy. If excess vitamin A interferes with them, your muscles might not get enough energy, leading to that feeling of profound fatigue that seems way out of proportion to what you've actually done. There's also evidence suggesting excess vitamin A could make the specialized nerve cells controlling your leg muscles overly sensitive or prone to firing erratically. This could manifest as those annoying muscle twitches, cramps, or a general lack of coordination, making movements feel less precise and potentially increasing the risk of stumbles or falls. Beyond direct effects, some studies indicate that vitamin A toxicity might promote systemic inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation is like a fire that can damage tissues, and when it affects muscles, it can accelerate the breakdown of muscle protein, worsening the age-related muscle loss many seniors already face. Each bit of inflammation could leave the muscle slightly weaker, contributing to a slow, progressive decline. What symptoms might point towards potential vitamin A issues? Again, they can be frustratingly vague and overlap with other common conditions. It might start with unusual morning stiffness, feeling like your legs are heavy or unresponsive when you first get up. Intermittent muscle cramps, perhaps starting in the calves and feet, and maybe moving up towards the thighs could be another sign. Then comes the noticeable weakness during daily activities, rising from a chair, climbing stairs. Walking longer distances becomes a struggle. You might find yourself instinctively reaching for furniture for support or avoiding certain tasks altogether. A distinctive sign, sometimes reported, is a deep, aching, or boring pain within the muscle tissue itself, different from typical joint pain. And that gradual loss of coordination or balance, making you feel less steady on your feet, is also a significant concern as it directly impacts fall risk. Why is this connection so often missed, even by doctors? Well, standard blood tests for vitamin A might appear normal even if there's an accumulation in tissues like the liver. The symptoms, as we've seen, mimic so many other conditions common in seniors: arthritis, circulation problems, nerve issues. It's easy to go down those diagnostic paths first. Plus, the slow onset makes it hard to link cause and effect. Few people think to connect today's leg weakness with a supplement they started taking 2 years ago. And frankly, the medical focus is often more on preventing deficiency rather than screening for excess, especially with vitamins we've always been told are good for us. We also have to acknowledge the influence of the supplement industry. You walk into any pharmacy or health store and you're bombarded with products containing vitamin A, often marketed with claims about vision or immunity. What they don't often highlight is that vitamin A needs can actually decrease slightly with age, while the risk of accumulation might increase. The dosage recommendations are rarely age-specific, and the difference between natural food sources and pre-formed vitamin A isn't always made clear. Pre-formed vitamin A is absorbed more directly and poses a higher risk of toxicity if overconsumed. Marketing often plays on the fear of deficiency, urging people to supplement just in case, potentially pushing them towards excess without realizing the risk. Now, understanding the potential risks of individual vitamin excess is crucial. But there's another layer to this: how these vitamins interact with your diet. Sometimes it's not just the high vitamin level alone, but the combination with certain foods that can amplify the problem, creating what the original video called a perfect storm for muscle deterioration. Think of it this way: certain foods might enhance the absorption of these fat-soluble vitamins, or they might interfere with your body's ability to detoxify the excess, or they might contain compounds that add to the inflammatory load already stressing your muscles. For example, eating a lot of calcium-rich foods when you already have borderline high vitamin D could potentially worsen the calcium overload issue we discussed earlier, pushing more calcium into soft tissues. Similarly, regularly eating foods naturally very high in preformed vitamin A, like beef liver, while also taking a vitamin A supplement, could easily push your levels into a problematic range much faster than either one alone. Your liver, potentially already struggling to process the supplement, gets hit with another large dose from the food. The original video listed several specific foods like fortified cereals, protein shakes, calcium-fortified OJ, and cod liver oil as potentially problematic in the context of excess vitamin A or D. The key takeaway here isn't necessarily that these foods are bad, but that context matters, especially if you are supplementing heavily or experiencing symptoms. Being mindful of total intake from all sources, supplements and fortified foods, and naturally rich foods becomes incredibly important. So faced with this potentially confusing picture, essential vitamins that might cause harm in excess, subtle symptoms mimicking aging, interactions with food, what can you actually do? How do you protect your leg strength and mobility? Let's shift from the problem to the solutions and strategies. The goal here isn't to create fear around vitamins, but to foster awareness and encourage informed choices. It's about finding the right balance for your individual needs as you age. The solution isn't usually found in adding yet another pill, but often in simplifying and reevaluating what you're already doing. Take a good, hard look at everything you're taking. Don't just look at the main name. Read the entire label. How much vitamin D is in your multivitamin? Does your calcium pill also have D? Is there vitamin A lurking in unexpected places? Ask yourself, why am I taking this specific supplement? Was it recommended by my doctor based on a diagnosed deficiency, or did I start taking it based on general advice or advertising? Keep a list. This is crucial. Don't just stop supplements abruptly without guidance, especially if prescribed. Instead, schedule a conversation specifically about your supplement intake and any symptoms you're experiencing. Mention your concerns about potential excess vitamin D or A. Ask about getting your levels tested. Importantly, inquire about tests for both the storage form and potentially the active form if relevant, as sometimes storage levels look okay while imbalances still exist. Be persistent and advocate for yourself. Share the list of supplements you compiled. This is perhaps the most powerful shift you can make. Your body is incredibly intelligent at extracting and regulating nutrients from whole foods. Focus on a balanced diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats. For calcium and bone health, think leafy greens, dairy, or fortified plant milks in moderation, almonds, and fish with edible bones like sardines, balanced with sources of magnesium, which helps regulate calcium. For vitamin A, prioritize beta-carotene sources like carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, and bell peppers. Your body only converts what it needs, reducing toxicity risk compared to preformed vitamin A supplements. Get vitamin D safely from moderate sun exposure, fatty fish eggs, and mindfully chosen fortified foods, always considering your total intake. Instead of thinking about aggressive detox, focus on supporting the systems your body already has. Stay well hydrated with plain water. This helps your kidneys function optimally. Ensure adequate dietary fiber from whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and legumes. This aids digestion and elimination. Gentle, regular movement also supports circulation and overall health. Supplements alone won't guarantee strong legs. Targeted activity is key. If you're experiencing weakness, start gently. Simple exercises like seated leg lifts, calf raises while holding onto a chair, practicing standing up and sitting down slowly, and gentle ankle rotations can help rebuild strength and improve circulation without overstraining. Short, mindful walks, focusing on how your body feels, are also excellent. Consistency is more important than intensity, especially when recovering. The original video detailed a specific 3-week protocol. While structure can be helpful, I believe the focus should be on these principles: assessment, informed medical discussion, food-first nutrition, hydration, and gentle rehabilitation applied consistently over time. Recovery is a journey, not always a fixed timeline. Be patient and kind to yourself, maintaining your progress long-term. Once you've worked with your doctor, adjusted your intake, and started feeling better, how do you prevent future issues? Be supplement savvy. If you and your doctor decide supplements are still needed, choose wisely. Opt for lower, moderate doses unless a deficiency is confirmed by testing. Consider beta-carotene instead of preformed vitamin A. Be cautious with high-dose vitamin D. Regular review. Periodically re-audit your supplements. Did something new creep in? Are you still taking things unnecessarily? Listen to your body. Pay attention to those subtle signs. Don't dismiss persistent fatigue, cramps, or weakness. Ongoing doctor dialogue. Keep your doctor informed about your supplement use, especially if medications change. Consider periodic blood tests to ensure levels stay in a healthy range, not just avoiding deficiency, but also avoiding excess. Stick with whole foods. Continue prioritizing a balanced, whole foods-based diet as your primary source of nutrition. Ultimately, navigating supplements as we age requires a shift in perspective. It's less about chasing the promises on a bottle and more about understanding the delicate balance our bodies require. It's about moving from passively taking pills to actively engaging with our health, asking questions, and making informed choices in partnership with our healthcare providers. This knowledge truly is power. The power to potentially reclaim strength you thought was lost, the power to move more confidently, and the power to protect your independence for years to come. It wasn't about needing more, but perhaps about needing less of certain things and more balance overall. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Does any of this resonate with your experience? Have you ever suspected a link between supplements and how you feel? What's one step you might consider taking after hearing this discussion? Please share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Let's learn from each other. If you found this information helpful or thought-provoking, please give this video a like. It really helps the channel reach more people who might benefit. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more content focused on proactive, informed health choices as we age. Thank you so much for watching. Here's to staying strong, balanced, and empowered on your health journey.